जहां तक मोहम्मद मसूद परवेज का सवाल है, बांग्लादेश के खिलाड़ी
Hello and welcome to Sports News. I am Gautam Roy. A packed show ahead for you, from cricket to hockey to even F1 racing. First up, the headlines. England captain Eoin Morgan gets suspension for one ODI and is fined 40% of his match fee for slow over rate. England players also fined 20% of their match fees. Indian men's hockey team suffers a 4-0 defeat against Australia. Blake Gowers and Jeremy Hayward were wreckers-in-chief with 2 goals each. Maria Sharapova has pulled out of the French Open due to a shoulder problem. Took to Instagram to reveal her decision to withdraw. And Poland's Sport and Tourism Minister Witold Banka is set to become the next president of the World Anti-Doping Agency. Former sprinter was recommended by members of public authorities. Well, the World Cup is looming large starting the 30th of May, and we're beginning with cricket therefore. Well, England captain Eoin Morgan has been suspended for the next one-day international and fined 40% of his match fees for a slow over rate during the 6-wicket win against Pakistan. It's Morgan's second such offence within 12 months after England were guilty of a slow over rate against the West Indies in February. Morgan will miss Friday's 4th ODI against Pakistan at Trent Bridge. England lead the 5-match series 2-0. England took almost 4 hours, to bowl their 50 overs in Bristol. Also disciplined by the ICC were Johnny Bairstow, who was reprimanded for hitting the stumps with his bat when he was dismissed in the 29th over. The wicketkeeper batsman struck a sensational century as England easily chased 359 to win at Bristol's county ground. The rest of the England players have also been fined 20% of their match fees for the slow over rate. Turning to hockey now, and the Indian men's hockey team were blanked 0-4 by world number 2 Australia in the 4th match of the tour down under, with Blake Gowers and Jeremy Hayward scoring a brace each for the hosts on Wednesday. After remaining unbeaten in their first 3 matches of the tour, world number 5 India were handed a lesson in hockey by the Kookaburras, with Gowers scoring in the 15th and 60th minutes, while Hayward found the net in the 20th and 59th minutes. India will again play Australia on Friday in their 5th and last match of the tour. Former French Open champion Maria Sharapova has withdrawn from this year's tournament because of her long-standing shoulder problem. The 32-year-old world number 35 has not played since pulling out of an event in her native Russia at the end of January and had a small operation in February. This year's French Open kick-starts from the 26th of May, which is Tuesday. Sharapova, who won the French title in 2012 and 2014, returned to the tour in April 2017 after a 15-month ban for taking the banned drug meldonium. She reached the French Open quarterfinals last year, losing 6-2, 6-1 to third seed Gabriela Muguruza. Now, Poland's Sport and Tourism Minister Witold Banka is set to become the next president of the troubled World Anti-Doping Agency after a vote on Tuesday left him as the only remaining candidate. Banka, an elite athlete who helped Poland win a bronze medal in the 400 meters relay at the 2007 World Championships, beat Dominican Republic's Vice Minister of Sport and Tourism Marcos Diaz in a vote. Banka will take over an agency in turmoil as WADA emerges from a Russian scandal that fractured the anti-doping movement. The vote was taken by the representatives of the public authorities, the 21 government members who sit on the WADA Executive Committee and Foundation Board in Montreal. The 34-year-old will be formally confirmed as the fourth WADA president during the World Conference on Doping in Sport in Poland from the 5th to the 7th of November later this year. Now, Spaniard Fernando Alonso escaped injury when he crashed during an Indianapolis 500 practice run on Wednesday after his car lost traction in the middle of turn 3 and made contact with the wall 3 times. The double Formula One world champions number 66 McLaren Racing Chevrolet slid into the wall on the exit of turn 3 before skidding across the track and into the interior barrier and striking the outside barrier again. When his car came to a stop, the 37-year-old managed to get out unassisted and was later checked, cleared and released from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway's medical center.
Yeah, it was just pure understeer on the car, and even if I lifted the throttle on the entry of the corner, it was not enough, and lost completely the front aero, and the wall came too close and too quickly. But unfortunately, it happened today, and we will lose a little bit of running time again, and I'm sorry for the team, but we will learn, and hopefully we will come back stronger tomorrow.
Now, a Formula One car was sent to the home of a 5-year-old boy with a rare form of terminal cancer. Harry Shaw, who was given 1 week to live in April, was described by his father James Shaw as being a lover of cars and a huge fan of Lewis Hamilton. Harry sent Hamilton a good luck message on Instagram ahead of the Spanish Grand Prix, which was reposted by Hamilton on his page alongside a message that said that Harry was his inspiration in the race. Hamilton went on to win the race on Sunday and dedicated the win to Harry, describing him as his spirit angel. The Shaw family have set up a charity page to raise money for research into the disease and have so far raised more than £1.06 lakh. Now, Manipur-based Indian boxer Sarita Devi had a good outing at the Asian Boxing Championships this year, where she ended her campaign with a bronze medal. She lost her 60 kg semi-final bout and had to settle only with a bronze medal, and after which she's spoken her heart out, saying that she's not able to say when she would stop taking challenges inside the ring.
मेरे साथ इस वक्त मौजूद है सरिता देवी, जिन्होंने इस बार एशियन चैंपियनशिप में मेडल जीत के 8 बार मेडल जीतने का एक नया कीर्तिमान बनाया। आइए बात करते हैं उनसे। आप मुझे ये बताइए कि इतना एक्सपीरियंस होने के बाद हाउ डज इट फील टू लीड द वुमेन टीम इन दिस एशियन चैंपियनशिप वेयर योर टीम हैज डन एक्सीडिंगली वेल?
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, और 2001 मेरा पहला कंपटीशन था बैंकॉक में एशियन चैंपियनशिप। अब तक कंटिन्यूसली मैंने एशियन में मेडल दिया, 5 गोल्ड, 1 सिल्वर, 2 ब्रॉन्ज। मुझे बहुत खुशी हुआ ये परफॉर्म मेंटेन कर पाया। और ओवरऑल टीम, हमारा इंडिया टीम अभी बहुत आगे है। पहले फेडरेशन नहीं थे और उसकी वजह से एक्सपोजर भी नहीं मिलते थे। अजय सिंह आने के बाद बहुत चेंजेस आया, इंडिया एकदम टॉप लेवल में लेकर आ गया। और बहुत सारे, मतलब पहले तो क्या होते थे, बॉक्सर को एक वेट में 3-4 बॉक्सर रहते हैं अच्छा, लेकिन उसको एक ही चांस मिलते थे। तो यहाँ पे इंडिया के अंदर में भी कंपटीशन हाई हो रहा है, बराबर एक्सपोजर दे रहे हैं, कंपटीशन मिल रहा है। तो उसकी वजह से हमारा बॉक्सिंग है, इंडियन बॉक्सिंग है, बहुत परफॉर्म अभी अच्छा आ रहा है।
ओलंपिक ईयर है, इसमें क्वालिफिकेशन शुरू हो चुके हैं, नेक्स्ट वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप होंगे। तो आपका क्या मानना है कि भारतीय टीम में वो है बात कि वो क्वालिफाई करे और ओलंपिक में मेडल, क्योंकि बहुत समय हो गया है ओलंपिक में मेडल नहीं जीता है। 2012 में लास्ट बॉक्सिंग में मेडल आया था।
इस बार मुझे पूरा कॉन्फिडेंस है, बॉक्सिंग मेन एंड वुमेन में बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं, परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं। मेरा पूरा विश्वास है वुमेन में भी मेन में भी ओलंपिक में मेडल। अभी अक्टूबर में हमारा ओलंपिक क्वालिफाइड है, तो अभी वुमेन में भी पहले 3 हुए थे, अभी 2 और इंक्रीज कर 5 हुए थे, 51, 57, 60 और 69, 75। तो बहुत ज़्यादा हम लोग को चांस, मतलब 5 लोग को क्वालिफाइड करने का चांसेस है। तो हम लोग बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं कोचेस, फॉरेन कोच आ रहे हैं, फॉरेन कोच अच्छा ट्रेनिंग दे रहा है, जो इताली की रिफेलो सर, ये बहुत अच्छा ट्रेनिंग अच्छा देते हैं। और नया यंग चीफ कोच अली कमर सर तो ज्वाइन किया, वो आने के बाद बहुत चेंजेस है और बहुत एक टीम वर्क है, बहुत अच्छा टीम, बाकी कोचेस लोग हैं, बहुत अच्छा टीम ट्रेनिंग बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं। तो जैसे ओलंपिक क्वालिफाइड अक्टूबर में है तो पूरा विश्वास है, मैं भी आज तक इसलिए खेल रही हूँ, मैं एक बार ओलंपिक मेडल लेना है, तो मेरा भी फुल कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ इस बार तो ओलंपिक क्वालिफाई होगा मेरे को।
तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। तो ये थी सरिता देवी, जिन्होंने कहा है कि कोशिश उनकी यही है कि एक बार ओलंपिक में क्वालिफाई करके मेडल जीत पाए। कैमरामैन अरविंद के साथ मैं तापस भट्टाचार्य, डीडी न्यूज, दिल्ली।
Now let's get you all the updates from the Cricket World Cup. Well, 1987 was the first time the World Cup moved out of England to India, while 1992 saw the Cup move down under with emergence of colour clothing. That's not all, the World Cup was played with white cricket balls as well. 2003 saw India reach the World Cup final, but what happened in the World Cup in South Africa? Take a look.
World Cup 1987, host Pakistan and India, champions Australia, runners-up England. There were quite a few firsts in this World Cup. One, it was held outside England for the first time after 3 consecutive World Cups. 2, neutral umpires were used. 3, the overs were reduced to 50 per innings to balance the fewer hours of daylight in the subcontinent. Australian skipper Alan Border chose to bat on a seemingly flat wicket at the Eden Gardens. David Boone led the Aussie batting charge with 125 ball 75 to take the total past the 250 mark. In reply, England were on par with the required run rate when Bill Athey combined well with captain Mike Gatting to put on 69 runs in 13 overs. However, Gatting played a needless reverse sweep and handed the initiative back to Australia. Alan Lamb tried his best with a 55 ball 45, but the climbing run rate got the better of him. With 70 needed of the last over, Greg McDermott held his nerve and bowled Australia to a 9-run victory. This game was a tale of 2 different captains, one Alan Border, who inspired his side when they were down, while the other Mike Gatting, who handed the initiative back by playing a reckless shot. World Cup 1992 host New Zealand and Australia, champions Pakistan, runners-up England. This was the first time that the teams sported coloured clothing and played with the white cricket balls at the World Cup. The International Cricket Council introduced a complete round-robin format for the first time in World Cups, doing away with the use of 2 different groups. Inspired by a superb burst from pacer Wasim Akram, Pakistan were the new world champions after beating England by 22 runs in the final at Melbourne. The left-arm pacer cleaned up Alan Lamb and Chris Lewis off consecutive deliveries to leave England in tatters. Victory was sweet, particularly for Imran Khan and Javed Miandad, who had been the sole survivors since the first World Cup held in 1975. The duo had played their part earlier in the day, adding 139 runs for the 3rd wicket. World Cup 1996 host India, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, champions Sri Lanka, runners-up Australia. World Cup returned to the subcontinent for the second time. When India and Pakistan were hosting the tournament for the second time, it was the first time for Sri Lanka. Arvinda De Silva was the hero on the big night, following up his 3/42 and 2 catches with a sterling 107 as Sri Lanka became the first host nation to clinch the World Cup. After being invited to bat first, the Sri Lankan spinners restricted Australia to 241. Sri Lanka endured a shaky start, losing their in-form openers early, but Arvinda De Silva and Arjuna Ranatunga steered them to the finish line with ice coolness. World Cup 1999. Host England, Wales, Ireland, Scotland and Netherlands. Champions Australia, runners-up Pakistan. Cup returned to the United Kingdom for the 4th time. The 7th edition of the multi-nation event was hosted mainly by England, with Scotland, Ireland, Wales and Netherlands playing co-hosts. Steve Waugh dropped, makes South Africa pay. Australia breaks South Africa's hearts. In one of the most poignant moments of history, Alan Donald was run out with the scores tied, leaving Australia joyous on entering the final and the dreaded C word coming back to haunt South Africa. In a seesaw battle, Lance Klusener, the eventual man of the tournament, panicked at the final instant to leave his partner Alan Donald stranded. Earlier, Sean Pollock had finished with 5 for 36 to restrict Australia to 213. One of the most lopsided World Cup finals ever, Shane Warne led Australia's demolition of Pakistan, grabbing 4 by 33 before Steve Waugh's men wrapped up the title in a chase that lasted a mere 20.1 overs. World Cup 2003 hosts South Africa, Zimbabwe and Kenya, champions Australia, runners-up India. World Cup entered African territory for the first time, with South Africa, Zimbabwe and Kenya co-hosting the event. This was the first time 14 teams, the most back then, participated in a World Cup. Ponting blows India away as Australia defend title. There was a big roar from the crowd when Sourav Ganguly calls the right side of the coin. However, they were unaware of what was to come. To everyone's surprise, because there was a bit of dampness on the pitch, Ganguly opted to field. India's opening bowler, Zaheer Khan, couldn't handle the pressure of a final and he bowled a 10-ball over which yielded Australia 15 runs. From that point, the Aussies never looked back. Adam Gilchrist attacked from the word go and Australia were 100-0 in no time. Although India hit back with 2 quick wickets, skipper Ricky Ponting and Damian Martin shared an unbeaten 234-run stand for the third wicket, which meant Australia posted a massive 359 for 2. Ponting in particular was severe on the bowling, hitting 4 fours and 8 massive sixes. It was also the highest individual score then in a World Cup final. India's dreams were shattered when Glenn McGrath dismissed Sachin Tendulkar in the very first over. Although Virender Sehwag with 82 and Rahul Dravid with 47 showed some resistance, the Aussie bowlers picked wickets at regular intervals and eventually they bowled India out for 234 in the 40th over to burst into celebrations.
From playing the 2003 final, India did a U-turn in fortunes to plummet to their worst show 4 years later in 2007. But the team bounced back to win the 2011 crown at home in Mumbai. The 2015 World Cup was yet again a good show, but one bad night against the Aussies returned to win the World Cup for the 5th time after an 8-year wait.
World Cup 2007 host Windies, champions Australia, runners-up Sri Lanka. Australia made a hat-trick of wins. In what turned out to be a rain-marred final, Adam Gilchrist's brutal assault on Sri Lankan bowlers took the wind out of the opposition sails and Australia won the World Cup for the 3rd successive time. In spite of playing countless blizzards all over the globe, Gilchrist had struggled for touch in 2007 World Cup, but in the final, runs flowed like a gigantic river from his willow. Despite Sanath Jayasuriya's sustained carnage, Australia eventually won the game by 53 runs via Duckworth-Lewis method. The members of the Australian squad celebrated the occasion with unfettered joy. World Cup 2011 hosts Bangladesh, India and Sri Lanka, champions India, runners-up Sri Lanka. The 10th edition of the World Cup returned to the subcontinent after a span of 15 years. India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh played hosts. Ireland come back from the death to stun England. England captain Andrew Strauss opted to bat on a batting paradise in Bangalore. Kevin Peterson, Jonathan Trott and Ian Bell justified his decision as the trio scored 50s and propelled their side to 327. Nobody expected Ireland to chase this down, especially when they were 111 for 5. In walked Kevin O'Brien, who had other ideas, and along with Alex Cusack added 162 runs for the 6th wicket. When he was done, O'Brien had scored a stroke-filled 113 and left Ireland 13 short of the target. John Mooney finished the formalities in the final over and Ireland created history. They had chased down the highest score in a World Cup game. Dhoni's masterclass. It was not only MS Dhoni's unbeaten 91 but also the decision to promote himself ahead of the in-form Yuvraj Singh that won India the World Cup. Sri Lanka had entered another World Cup final and they did not want to lose once again. Mahela Jayawardene made sure that the first half belonged to them as he scored a marvellous 103 to set up a target of 275. India needed a special innings to overcome Jayawardene's knock and they got two from Gautam Gambhir and Dhoni. The former laid the foundation for the latter to finish and the skipper sealed the victory with a humongous 6. India won the World Cup after 28 years. World Cup 2015. The 11th edition of the quadrennial tournament was co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand. This was the second time that the World Cup was staged in Trans-Tasman territory since 1992. Australia win 5th title. Despite losing the toss and having to bowl first, Australia got off to a rousing start as Michelle Stark knocked over Brendan McCullum for a duck in the very first over. New Zealand could never recover from the blow and were eventually bowled out for 183. In reply, Brendan McCullum set attacking fields. Smith, who recorded his 5th 50 in a row, hit the winning runs to give Australia the World Cup for the 5th time. Sports Desk, DD News.
Now in sports news, we're also doing a SWOT analysis of the various competing teams in the World Cup, and Bangladesh announced their 15-member squad for the upcoming World Cup, which will be led by Musharraf Murtaza, while Shakib Al Hassan will be serving as his deputy. The middle order batsman Musaddaq Hussain, who last played for Bangladesh in the Asia Cup last year, has made a comeback for the World Cup. The Bangladesh selectors have also named pacer Abu Jayed in the squad. Jayed, who is yet to make his debut in ODIs, had impressed with his swing bowling during the tests in New Zealand last month. Bangladesh begin their campaign against South Africa at the Oval in London on the 2nd of next month.
Bangladesh. Perennial underachievers Bangladesh will be looking to improve on their 2015 quarter-final finish after some heartening performances in the United Kingdom. They qualified for the semi-finals in the 2017 Champions Trophy from a group that also featured hosts England, Australia and New Zealand. In 2018, Bangladesh won 13 of their 20 ODI matches, behind only England and India in terms of the number of wins. The Tigers will rely on experience of key players like Musharraf Murtaza, Tamim Iqbal, Shakib Al Hassan and Mushfiqur Rahim, who are all expected to play their 4th 50 overs World Cup. Mustafizur, the only Bangladeshi to feature in ICC's 2018 ODI Team of the Year, with his lively pace and incisive swing bowling, can be handy in seeming English conditions. The country's board tried to protect the 22-year-old from the World Cup by denying him permission to join the lucrative Indian Premier League.
And the South African squad for the World Cup has a mixture of experienced and young players. Among the 15 players, 7 have World Cup experience, and they are going to be crucial for South Africa in the upcoming tournament. Here we are analysing South Africa's World Cup squad.
The 4-time Cricket World Cup semi-finalists, South Africa is desperate to finish their weight to lift the World Cup trophy in the upcoming edition. They are ready to begin the new World Cup journey under Faf du Plessis' captaincy. Before the new World Cup journey, here we are, analysing the World Cup squad. It is an experienced squad with du Plessis, Duminy, Steyn, Amla and Tahir playing the 3rd World Cup and Miller and de Kock their 2nd. The management has emphasised on playing an aggressive style of cricket influenced by the philosophy of head coach Otis Gibson. The selected seem well suited to carry forward their philosophy. After 2 years of trying different players to identify who to take to the World Cup, South Africa were left with deciding between Amla and Hendricks to open the innings alongside de Kock. Amla was selected owing to his experience in English conditions despite a poor run of form recently and a struggle for consistency going back to last year. Amla, de Kock, du Plessis, Miller, Van der Dussen and Duminy form the batting core of the team, with all of them guaranteed to play unless injury strikes. Adrian Markram has been selected as backup batsman following his domestic one-day form with 542 runs in 5 innings in the recent one-day tournament in South Africa. David Miller is also the designated backup wicket-keeping option, with de Kock playing as the primary wicket-keeper. Miller played as wicket-keeper during the recent one-day and T20 series against Sri Lanka, and his success in that position meant that Henrich Klaasen was not considered. Andil Pelukvayu are the only all-rounders in the squad. with Feluk Vayu playing as the main all-rounder and Pretorius playing either as replacement or, if conditions require, an additional bowler. It is their bowling that gives them an edge over their opponents. Dale Steyn, Lungi Nigiri and Kagiso Rabada are the main post bowlers, all capable of bowling at extreme pace and swinging the ball. Unless conditions necessitate an additional spinner, all three of them are set to play in every match. Andrich has been selected as pace bowling backup. Imran Tahir is the main spin bowling option and will constantly be looking for wickets during the middle overs. Tabraiz Shamsi has been selected as the second spinner, with JP Duminy on hand to bowl a few overs of off spin if needed. Sports Desk, DD News.
And that's the team that India are going up against in their first encounter in the World Cup. That's going to happen at the Rose Bowl in Southampton, 3 p.m. That's the time in the UK, 5th of June, Wednesday. Mark your calendar. That's it for the moment in this edition of Sports News. For all the latest, stay tuned.